one who's doing it all up close. So you're actually washing the bottles.
That's right, that you send me.
Yes.
It's true. Well, we are here live on our Facebook feed. Let's make sure that, is it up on Facebook, Brandon? Do you see it there?
I am.
Let's see.
I was trying to do that, but I missed it just yet.
Let's see if it's connecting over there. Yep, I see that. And let's make sure that we're connected over on our YouTube feed. As always, you can watch us. There we go. And we're here. I can see us. Yep, I've got us.
We're good to go.
And I've got us there. Let me make sure I can see us on
There
the
it is.
phone. So we've got all of the comments going. Yes, I can see it. People are starting to comment, which is great. Yes, there we are.
Yeah, I got it everywhere.
We've got it all over. There we are. Let me make sure that I can see.
Worldwide, everybody.
Yes,
Worldwide.
worldwide. Let's make sure that that's, I think I've got our live feed up. Yep, there we go. And let's go ahead. I want to make sure that we're there. And I've got all the live chat over on our YouTube channel. All right, well, great. Well, it's great to have all of you guys here. And as I said, great to have you here, Janice.
I'm happy.
Yes.
I'm happy. I'm here.
Yes. You're ready to share this great
I'm
project?
upright. I'm walking.
That's right. That's right.
And
Well,
I'm ready to share one of my favorite projects, Odyssey.
And we just want to take just a quick moment.
Yeah.
For those of you guys, we're watching live today, and today is September 11th, which in our American history holds a very poignant memory for all of us. So we just want to just take a moment to remember that tragedy that happened on September 11th, and just to acknowledge that, we remember those that are lost, and we rejoice in the rebuilding out of the tragedy. So
I know.
yeah.
I think everyone who was alive then knows where they were.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments.
You and I, you had the brick and mortar,
Yeah.
and I remember calling you very early that morning
Yeah.
and saying, Janice, what are we going to do? And we closed. I
Yeah.
remember you went down, you said, you stay home.
Yeah.
You went down, you put a note on the store,
Yeah.
and then, so that day we were closed, but then the next day we were open for business for community, and people came, and so we, it was an interesting time in our history, so, but we just wanted to take that moment.
And we made, that's one of the moments of being around the bead table
Mhm.
that was so profound. We were able to raise $45,000.
We did.
The community came together into
Yeah.
the shop. We didn't know what to do.
Mm-mm.
And we made bracelets
We did.
that were then sold through Drager's, the local supermarket.
That's right, yeah.
And we were able to raise $45,000
Yeah.
for the Red Cross.
I
To
remember
help in
that.
the recovery.
Yeah.
So we learned beads were a great way of bringing the community together to help us heal,
Mm-hmm.
to help us understand what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still kind of hard for me. It's like putting on a jacket
Mhm.
that's the wrong size.
Mm-hmm.
That September 11th isn't always just sort of it. We're healing from it,
Yeah.
and we're able to do other things on September 11th.
Yeah.
But it's still important for us to remember
Yeah. To
the
reflect.
loss, the
Mhm.
terrible loss.
Yeah, and it really
for
did affect
everyone.
us here in the Bay Area, because one of
Yeah.
those planes was bound for San
Yeah.
Francisco, so we had some of our hometown people
Yeah.
were directly affected by that
So-
loss. So, but we just wanted to take that moment and acknowledge and remember,
Yeah. Yeah.
and do some healing with some creativity,
Yes.
which is what we're going to do today.
Yes.
So this Odyssey piece, Janice, that you are going to show today,
Right.
what's why? Number one, I've always wanted to know why you called it Odyssey, and what was the kind of the spark for this idea?
It was finding a project that really shared my love of wax linen, Irish linen.
Right.
And it's such an old school, beautiful, quality product that has been around since the really first days that I remember being in my mom's store when she used to sell beads when I was 10, 11, and 12. We used to string African trade beads on linen.
On wax linen. And also, the bookbinders also really use this.
Yes.
As a...
Yeah, and so I think Odyssey is, it was really a reference to how the company has journeyed from where I was as a child and where the product has also been on a journey where we are using it, and how it just, you just can go from one look to another with this material. And it just, I like the name Odyssey.
Yeah. Well,
it's a good word.
Well, and I feel like this really is kind of an Odyssey, a project that where you start and you really take it on a journey.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. This was one of the first string materials I used when I came on board at Bead Shop. I had never heard of wax linen. And as you say, we did a lot of kind of our knotting and stringing with like tribal and trade beads, African trade beads, and I used a lot of those in my designs. So this wax linen has such I don't know, I have a great love for it as well. And then we didn't carry it in all these colors. We carried it in white, black, and brown, as I remember.
Right, and they came in small,
small little spools, yeah.
Of 25 yards. I'm still in the process of trying to get the manufacturer to card them for us. And in the interim, we make these nests ourselves.
Yeah.
But it's a wonderful product. It's probably the most natural product on the market. We can't say that the beeswax is organic because we don't know where the bees go.
But it really is. It's strong. It's durable.
Yeah.
I have a lot of the necklaces that I started or that I've strung that are 20 years old that are still like new on this product.
And Brittany did. She used. We've sold it in 2-ply and 3-ply. The 4-ply is the one that we really stock and expand with colors. And you could untwist it, which
into
is
its individual plies,
which is what Brittany did in out of Africa, the bracelet with the suede on the ends. Help me with my words.
I'll have to look. I'm gonna look it up.
She did the bracelet that has the ultra suede for the band, and she used the little clay beads.
Oh, Gypsy Bracelet.
Was it Gypsy Bracelet?
Was it? I don't know.
It's Gypsy Bracelet. Yes, that's the one. And
she's
her original designs
was on wax linen.
But it was too thick for the beads, so she just took the 4-ply, and you can actually untwist it and use like half of it.
Yeah.
And you just pull it apart.
And didn't you use it also, Janice, in Heart's Desire?
No.
Did you? No?
No.
But it would work in that. I think. You could untwist.
The Heart's Desire, though, are their gemstones.
Yeah.
I really think it's like either microcelon or
that's what you use. You use the
microcelon. Yeah.
Okay.
So
we need to revisit that one sometime.
Yeah,
too.
it's a lovely project.
All right. Well, let's turn this camera around.
Okay.
And let's give you guys a close-up view of the project here. You can go online, of course, and see the project in the project map. It looks great. Karen had a really wonderful picture of it for that. You can see a nice up-close photo, but I will set it here and we can kind of put the patient on the table and take a look at it and see. You know, when we were talking about, well, what are we going to do for September? You know, what are we going to do for September, and how are we going to what do we want to do for the live broadcasts, etc. And I told Janice, I said, you know what we haven't touched in a while? We haven't touched Odyssey.
Yeah.
Now, you guys have seen the episode. I actually took this to Katie Hacker's show, Beads, Baubles, and Jewels, and I did a version of this on Beads, Baubles, and Jewels. It was a lot of fun. But I told Janice, I said, I think we need an update. And Janice was like, say no more. I've got it.
Exactly.
And so she took this back on her own Odyssey. Now let me start by giving you guys a length, and then I'm going to talk about the tools and materials that we're going to use.
Okay.
So here, this length, as we like to say, door to door, is about 23.5 inches. Now, if you're doing this as a bracelet, right, we would wrap that, however many times. So 21.5 maybe is a little better. But for me, I'm going to wrap it. I was putting it on. Oh, thanks, JP. It's maybe just a hair too big. So you want to be mindful if you're doing this as a wrap bracelet.
Gorgeous!
Isn't it gorgeous? If you're doing it as a wrap bracelet, you may want to make it a little bit smaller, but I like my bracelets, honestly, to hang a little loose. See how I can get my finger under there a little bit? Mm-hmm. And if it's a multi-wrap like this, I like the movement around my wrist. So this, for me, my 6.5 inch wrist, is perfect. Now, the dangles that Janice did, and these are
about 3
Say
inches.
Something dangles. Yep, they're about 3. About 2 3/4 to 3 inches. And we're going to talk a little bit about how she chose the beads and how she did the layout. But this would also make a really fantastic necklace as well, a layering necklace. And I'm so glad that you did purple. Everyone's loving the purple on this.
I'm not a purple person, even though it's one of my colors. They talk of, did you ever have your colors done?
No, I had a book. I couldn't afford to get my, because I was younger, but we had a book.
Well, I had my colors
Yeah,
done.
of course. I think then I was an autumn, but maybe now I'm a winter. What are you?
I'm an autumn.
You're an autumn.
I'm a total autumn.
Yeah.
And purple, along with teal, both of those are my colors.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't wear either, really.
Mm-hmm. This is as my mom likes to say, this teal is her signature color.
Mm-hmm. Well, teal, along with coral, we learned this when we had the shop, everybody can wear teal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everyone looks good in teal. And also, everyone looks good in coral.
Yeah.
Every skin
variation
tone.
Of coral.
Yeah. So, like in the spring, when we see turquoise and coral coming out along with pearl, boy, everyone buys it because everyone looks good in it.
No, it's good. Hand me, Janice, I want to go over the materials. Would you?
Yeah, here we go, and I've got the little list.
So you guys can, of course, go over to the website and choose exactly what Janice used. We're calling this the New Odyssey, Flight of the Butterfly. And the reason why we're calling this the New Odyssey is that we've expanded on the threads that we're using. Traditionally, when Janice did the Odyssey, she would do it, and speaking of teal, here's a teal one right here. We would do it just simply on wax linen, like so. And we would really just use a cube and maybe throw in a little hishi slice in there.
Do you have the fine weight?
I do. I have it right.
Okay, because we just want to make sure we're showing that.
So Janice expanded on the stringing materials that we're using. May I have that, the leather and stuff there?
Oh, yeah.
So the stringing materials we've expanded, and we're doing the wax linen in
plum.
Plum. That's what that is. And then you're using a 1.0.
1.0 distress
violet. And we have the Ceylon is in fine, and it's in purple and in teal. Yeah.
But you could pick any colors.
Yeah, any colors.
Any colors.
And then, can I have that wax linen
as
as well?
I brought that one. That's turquoise.
You didn't use this
No,
in
I
your
didn't,
piece,
but
right?
I
it
wanted
looks really
to show
nicely.
that you could lighten it up by using...
With this teal, the teal one. And then the beads, again, traditionally, well, as far as this tradition goes back, traditionally, you've used cubes.
Right.
And you could do a mixture of different cubes, whatever you like. So we did these cubes are the metallic gold iris,
Right.
which are just delightful.
Well, they're nice because they have purple. They also have the warmth of the blue in them.
They have
I
that
think they
bronze tone.
they add, like you would say, a say something.
Yeah, little say something
Yeah.
bead. And what I love, and I don't know if this bead led you to,
Oh, and then
to
this
bead,
also
right?
works
That
with,
button.
look at how that works
Yeah.
with that.
The button we used was the star button in turquoise
Right.
purple, and it's the check glass one. Now, I don't know if this bead, Janice, led you to this bugle, but this is almost this in matte form. Almost, you know.
Yeah.
And this bugle is the, I will tell you, the matte metallic dark raspberry, which is gorgeous. And
One of my favorite colors.
what JP did, let me show you the mixture of that and this strand. Now this would make just a great wrap bracelet, a skinny wrap bracelet on its own.
It looks wonderful on.
The cube and 3 bugles, cube and 3 bugles.
Or I change it to
Yeah,
one
you do.
bugle,
Yeah,
2
you change it up.
cubes. Then I did
Right.
like 2 cubes. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to
And then
this.
look at what she did with the bugles here. And you've seen her do this. We did this on
The memory wire.
the member we did.
Yeah, where you do a bugle down the center and 2
then,
on the sides.
Right, so it's like poetry
Yeah.
with the bugle here, and then you put the bugle down the
Right.
sides. So it's really the two of these just together would make, because you know you guys were careening into the holidays.
Yeah,
And
well,
this
look
is
at
a
this. Look at
fast-
this on your wrist, just as like
Yeah, look how
little
pretty.
single bracelets.
Yep.
You know, with a nice button and
Yep.
a charm, and you make 5 or 6 of these,
Yeah.
and all this is
The seed beads,
the seed bead,
bugles and the cubes.
and it's 2. I think it's 2 thicknesses of the fine weight down the center.
And
You know, no, it's 1 thickness,
Okay.
and then I've macrameed around it. So it's just 1 down the center, no needle. I just used the glue to make my own needle. Very simple.
And Yvette is asking to streamline this, like if you were making a bunch, or if you didn't want to put, throw a whole lot of money into this project, this is a way to really streamline your ingredients, I think. If you, and we'll talk about these coins in a second, but you can see what you have here, Janice, is simply the 11-aughts, the 8-aughts, the bugles, and the cubes.
Yeah.
And it's a very affordable project
Yeah.
with just these guys here.
Right.
I
And
think
a
would
thing
be great.
of your fine weight Ceylon.
Mm-hmm.
And a
then-
piece of leather.
And a piece of leather. What you added, which I loved, and you actually have added 2 strands. Now you can do 1 or 2 strands, however you want to do it. But we have used these beautiful coins, the coin beads, the crazy lace, the blue crazy lace agate. And what Janice did was she simply knotted it as a float. Again, this would be a great, just a single necklace, layering necklace that has Shades of Emily written all over it,
Yeah.
right? And you just eyeballed these, am I right?
Well, actually, what I do is I take, like, let's say this. I'll take this, and I have, if I want them fairly even, I have a little guide. Where's my paper? I don't want to write on this.
Here, write
yet.
on this.
Okay, so I will have like a little guide where I go, okay, I want them about that far apart. And so I'll show everyone today how I do that.
Okay.
But then I know, okay, then the next one is
It's
about
gonna
that.
be about that.
The next one is about
Right.
that. But then they don't have to be similar like this. If you could, I just look at the other
Sure.
Odyssey. So if you look at the regular Odyssey, and here is your
Let me get you
wax
this one.
linen. The knots have nothing to do really with the beads.
They
So-
just float.
They float So you don't have to do this. This is a new take on Odyssey.
Mhm.
The old Odyssey is just string a bead on, put a knot, and then just lots of space between them.
let them move.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably some rhyme or reason to how far apart these are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's probably, but no, there
No,
isn't.
there
It's
isn't.
just random.
And this, Janice, you strung this on wax linen.
This one is on wax linen. The holes were large enough
Mm-hmm.
on the blue crazy lace coins.
And so, let's just, while we're looking at it, let's look at each of these strands. So we've
Okay.
looked at this one with the bugles and the cubes, and we've looked at this one over here. Let me get it.
That's my mess up one. I'll show you my
Okay,
mess up.
I like that strand.
I had to do a Kate on this one.
Oh, right, a fixer.
I think this is the one I had to do, the splicing.
Oh.
Was on the leather one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this one was,
That's on the fine seal-on.
let me get on my, wait, so I'm changing glasses throughout this show. So this one is on the fine weight seal-on. It's just that the bugle ends up looking like the leather, so it's a little confusing. You almost go, oh no, you strung it on leather. But this one is actually on one strand of fine weight seal-on, and then I kept pretty much consistent 2 full knots in between whatever I was doing. And then this one is actually on the leather, and then the beads I put, so that middle one
Is leather.
so it
looks like the bugle,
yeah,
doesn't
it
it?
does. It looks just like the
fooled
bugle.
me. Yeah.
But then I take the 2 ends, which I've made glued needles with, and I put those on either side. Now where my mess up is right down here, when I was, I was trying to end the macrame, and I was trying to do the alley mori, where you
bury your
where
ends.
you bury your ends, and as I was pulling on the needle, I was holding the leather, and the leather
split.
snapped. So what I did here is there's a splice underneath.
Just underneath there, and you can't.
You
it
can't,
be
but
seen.
I didn't do this with the museum in mind. I just
You did it with. I've got to get that sample.
I've got to get it
to
finished.
California.
Yeah,
in mind.
exactly.
So that's those 2. Now you also, here's another leather strand
Doing
that
the
just
Katie
has
knot.
just the knot, that
Yeah.
double overhand,
Yeah,
which is great.
I wanted to show you don't have to, put a bunch of stuff on everything. You can. This also adds, if you put them together, it adds this nice texture to, and a kind of a moment of peace from all the busyness.
It's really, and the leather is so pretty to show, I think.
And then these are more to the.
And we've looked at this one. This one's on the wax linen.
Yeah.
Now these are just your kind of floats, right?
Right. And the nice thing about this is if you don't cut enough thread, it's really easy to knot it together and then add a thread. And you don't have to worry about, I've got to make sure I have enough thread for everything. The only thing you really need long enough would be for this coin one and for the leather that you're knotting. Otherwise, you can just, I want to add another thread, I want to drop a strand. It's so forgiving.
And these you used the 11/0 and the 8/0 in the same color, and that's the silver lined dark lilac.
Right.
And so what I love about using the same color in different sizes is you can make it look like a little bead unit. I like that a lot.
Well, on the fine, so there, I used both the wax linen and I used the fine weight. And when you knot the fine weight, the size 8 will slip over your hole.
So you need a stopper.
You need a stopper bead, and that's where the 11/0 came in.
That's great. And then I just want to show up close and personal, and then Janice is going to show you guys how she gets started. But see how everything comes together. And it's a very clever way of closing, and we'll show it again.
It's not my idea. This isn't my original. This is I have to say this came from Brittany,
Mm-hmm.
that this was something she did on a ladder bracelet a long time
It
ago.
was very clever. Well, you came in, brought everything together, macrame, macrame, macrame. Then notice, you guys, how all of this that has the tassel on it comes out, doesn't even go underneath the button. You've just moved those to the side, slid the button on, macrame, 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 glued it, and cut it. That's it.
Yeah, because the shank is too small,
It's small.
for everything.
You can see that. See that?
So instead of like, oh, I can't put everything through, so it's a mess now. Put through what you can, and I put through the macrame thread so that it was consistent.
Right, so it was consistent.
And
Great.
then just ended it, glued it, and
that's
then
it.
this is where you and I were going. I kept saying, I need a second strand of coins.
And I said, you can't
and
have a
you
second
said,
strand.
no, just do it with the one strand. And then when you weren't looking, I had Cara send me a second strand to make the tassel, because I
rebel.
really, really wanted a luscious
tassel.
Yeah.
Luscious tassel.
So-
Well, and you can, so this is where that second strand of beads comes in, you guys. So if you just got a single strand, you can certainly get yourself a second strand of them. Or you can, like we do, when you're kind of laying out your beads, portion your beads
Yeah.
out. So half of your strand will go into here, and you can alternate, do a coin and maybe some cubes or, whatever for this strand, and then use the other half of your coins for your tassel. But if you want it to really be super lush, like Janice is, single strand here in the necklace portion or bracelet portion, and then one more strand for the tassel.
You could also, if you portion one strand out, you could also make this a shorter
Yeah, you could.
tassel and save, I think there's 8 strands, you could save 8 of these beads
For the bottom.
for the bottom, and
That would work really nicely.
yeah, and then maybe space these a little more, a
Mhm.
little wider apart.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to have 2 strands to
Mm-mm.
make a gorgeous
No.
finished piece.
And like we say, the piece itself also looks incredible without the coins as well.
Yeah.
So Janice, let's start. Let's show the ladies and gentlemen how you start. Now you are working on the large macrame board
You can also work on a design tray.
on a deep dish,
You can work on a deep dish.
and show people. Will you show people
How bring that over,
yeah.
and then I'll show them another thing I discovered. But first I have to make the loop before I can show them what I want to do with the loop. So here's my my cotton cord. I always love these cotton cords because I try to the best of my ability not to clip the leather, because you can damage the leather. So I started out, let's just show everyone where I started out. I found the middle of my leather, and my scientific way of cutting leather, of how much I need, if I'm making a wrap bracelet, is I wrap the leather, literally, I fold it in half, and I go
wrap it around your
and I
wrist.
wrap it around my
Yeah.
wrist, and then I go, okay, that's how much I need.
That's, I think, extremely scientific.
That's how I do it. So I will find the middle of my leather in order to do let me take this bead off for a second, and let me get this just out of here for a second. So I've cut my piece of leather. I find the middle of the piece of leather. Now it's not going to damage my leather now to just do it flat. It's when you try to go around the side of the board. So I will just clip this down, or if it. A lot of people use these slits.
I
in
do.
the
I use
board.
the slit, and then sometimes I just clip on the other side of the slit
Yes, you could, or you can go around it a few times.
to just hold it in.
I end up liking to clip just like this, and then to get my leather up, I'll put something under it so that I can then.
Right, you have a little tunnel underneath.
So I took about 2 yards, 2.5 yards of fine weight Ceylon. were we in the
Yeah,
picture?
Well,
Okay.
nobody could see how you were clipping it. That was the one thing I was
Oh,
wondering.
okay. So
Since you were
can we
talking
see
about
it
it.
now clipped on this end?
Just
Let me
pull it
bring
up
it
a
in.
little,
Let me bring it
yeah.
in. So I've clipped it like that.
Okay, so
Okay,
people
just-
understand. Yeah, perfect.
And then now I've macrameed. This is the center of my leather.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to make it large enough
Mm-hmm.
to be able to fold over my button. So you have to test it a few times. You
And
may.
this length,
You have to
I'm just going to measure this just real quick so people know.
It's about
2 inches.
Yeah. So then before I actually okay, now I'm ready to finish, let's get this out. What I do is I fold it over like this. And then I just test my button. Will it
Yeah,
go
to make
through?
sure it slides.
Yeah, so it does go through.
And you don't want that to be tight or else that'll be a weak point in your piece.
Right. So if I was going to, so let me make this loop first,
Mm-hmm.
and then I will show you on the board how I do how I use these clips sometimes without going through, without actually compressing my materials. So let's just get this out of the way for a second. And I'm working with like a new pair of beading glasses today, which is interesting.
Well,
So-
that's the beauty of a live broadcast, JP.
Okay, so I'm going to just, I want it so that my macrame threads are underneath.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just separating them. And this may just be old school to many of you, but for those of you who haven't seen how we start Odyssey with the button loop, this is a good way to just see it. So I'm bringing these together. And then I'm just going to do that clip down here again, which I just did. I'll show you again. There's the clip down here. And I like the big macrame board for this, or the design tray
Mhm.
for this. So now my loop is halfway centered. I'm going to just lift this up so I have a little room to work. And then I'm going to capture my leather. Just with just a, I like to, I go 2 complete knots. 1 knot, I think maybe I might lose it. 2 complete knots. And let me just make sure that's tight enough. I think that's a total of 4. I think I did.
Mm-hmm. That looks good.
That looks good. If you wanted to do a couple of more, you could. There's no reason why you can't. And then I'm going to take the roller bead, and we put an alternate for the roller bead that's in the project.
Mm-hmm.
You see this one here. Turns out we can't get it right now. It's out of stock. So the purple one works just as well.
Yeah, it's the lavender copper or the purple silver lined
Right.
roller.
Okay.
Or anything.
Anything,
Or blue
a
or
pony
whatever.
or whatever
Yeah,
you
whatever
wanna
works.
Okay, so now I have my loop done. It works through the button.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a matter of, I don't have enough threads now. What do? I need
Mhm.
more thread. So what you do is you take your, why don't you cut
Yeah.
like,
Some.
yeah, cut 2
yards?
2 good yards
Okay.
of your, here it is. Cut 2 good yards of the wax linen.
Okay.
I'm going to cut 2 yards.
And how much leather, JP?
Um,
You know what? I'm going to actually take it off of this.
yeah. So I'm going to cut maybe,
And Janice, everybody is loving the bracelet that you're wearing, the wrap bracelet.
oh, this,
That one's
yeah.
called Spanish Moss, and you guys can find that
Oh.
under our Tricks to Laddering. As soon as Janice finished that one, she said, "I'm absconding with this
Yeah,
one."
I
So
mean,
that's-
this
that's
is
her
my,
go-to.
this is my go-to.
So I've got some wax linen here.
Okay,
I've got
so that's 2 strands.
Okay.
Then I have 2 strands of,
And do you want me to cut some seal on for you?
yeah, don't we use, yeah, we do. So let's, and then I think we have enough strands because
One
these get
seal-on?
doubled.
Or 2?
Let's see. We have 1 waxed, 2 wax linen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to worry about it. Just give me what you have.
Okay. I'm going to give you one more. Hang on 1 second, and then you can have it.
I don't need leather.
You don't need leather yet?
No, leather's right here.
Oh, it's in there. Oh,
Yeah, sorry about that.
that's okay. Then here.
We don't need it. Okay. So let's see what we have here.
I think I've given you 2 wax linen and 1 teal seal-on.
Okay, so we have, let's see what we have here, everybody. We've got a little bit of a knot going on, but no biggie.
Oops.
There it goes. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. There we go.
Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have a total on this of 8 strands.
Mm-hmm. And this
So-
is exactly how we add the other strands.
Right. Will you count those for
Sure.
me? So I think we need 8 plus the leather.
2, 4, 6, 8. 8 plus the leather.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 1 too many. So let's take out
Do you
this
need it
extra.
for? Do you need it for this though?
No.
No. Okay.
Or if I do, we'll find out.
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to now come in here. I'm going to tie these.
And you can always add it.
You can add more later. Yep.
And if you wanted this to be even more luscious, add more strands.
Yes. And you don't have to add all your strands. I'm going to just find the ends here. You don't have to add all your strands at once. You can
Mhm.
add, I'm going to make these even.
Here. Oh, you have it.
Yeah, let's just. So I'm just going to do just an overhand knot.
And this is that part, you guys, once you have everything set up just perfectly, that's, you know, you need to really take the time to make sure all your threads are laying correctly, you know, everything is good to go, just like Janice is doing
what
here.
happened here? Let me open this again.
Mhm.
So let's take the waxed linen and this one. Let's take this out. Let's just do this with less right
Okay.
now. And right now less is more. So I'm just going to do like we call it the half hitch knot, or
Mhm.
just, that's, you don't need very much. Just to, all you want to do is stabilize it here. That's all
Mhm.
you're going to do, okay? And then
Great.
you're going to put on that pony bead. Let's make sure these are all the same length. You're going to bring, it does look a little bit like a mess. Can you, am I in the picture, Brandwin?
You are.
Everyone can see?
Mhm.
I'm always on the East Coast saying, move the camera, get in for a close-up. Oh, thank you. Okay, so
Mhm.
that's going through there. And then let's snip these so they're the same length.
And if you don't have the wax linen, you guys, it's great to have in your arsenal, especially with all of these different colors. What Melanie was just saying, why don't I have that color wax linen? Go in and explore the wax linen category. You know, a big thank you to Bead and Button magazine. They just, in their October issue, I believe, linked us for our wax linen.
Yeah.
So thank you to Bead and Button for doing that. And we have so many really good colors. So it's a great stash builder to have just a little nest of wax linen in some kind of colors that will pop.
Can you see what I did here?
Yeah.
The secret. I'm over all those threads now. You don't
Right,
see
you just
them.
popped that
I
pony
just
right up.
pushed it right up. Yeah.
Up and over that knot.
Up and over. They're
Mhm.
hiding in there now. And then I'm going to take those two. And I have 1, 2, 3. We have 4, 5, 6, 7. So we had too many.
Okay,
I think.
too many.
Maybe not. Maybe
We'll
not.
see.
But you can add
We'll
more.
add
So
it.
okay. So
Mhm.
I'm going to now lift this up. I'm going to take these 2 fine weight, and I
Mhm.
chose the fine weight. I know someone's going to ask, can you use regular on this? You can't. If you want to get through some of these bugles and
You
the
need the
8
fine.
the 11/0 seed
Mhm.
beads, the regular won't. Plus, I also like the way the fine weight looks macrame. It doesn't look so heavy.
Yeah.
Do we have a sample? I think this is the regular. And when you're going over like multiple
Multiple times.
with the
or whatever.
regular, it just gets too big looking.
Mhm.
I think this is fine weight though.
Mhm. Yeah.
So anyway,
But whatever floats your boat, whatever works for
right.
you.
Well,
But
pick your
but
beads.
the fine, yeah,
Pick
it
your
has to go
beads
with
and
the,
then check your beads.
Mhm.
And we're going to use the zap glue to make our needle ends. So I'm just kind of holding this because the great thing about the Ceylon is it's pretty forgiving. So
Mhm.
it'll kind of hold its memory while you bring up your next knot, but
Mhm.
it doesn't hurt to pull on it a little bit.
Mhm. One of the things that I wanted to mention while you're doing that, this was a free tip Friday, you guys, that I did way back when we first launched our monthly mixes. This one's called Creamsicle.
Yeah.
And I used a bunch of different threads like Janice has here. I've used the Ceylon, I've used some wax linen.
Can I have
But
my
you know-
sample
yep.
second?
But you know what I added? Let me isolate that strand. I added 0.4 millimeter Chinese knotting cord. And can you see how it goes with these little shadows right here? It simply just goes through the little shadow and loops around. So this isn't even knotted. So 0.4 Chinese knotting cord
Yeah.
would be great to add into this. You could even do the 0.5 you could do. So any of those
Especially
threads
if you don't have
will work.
wax linen
Yeah.
and you've got like a heavier cord.
Mhm.
Whatever happened to the pointy thing on this?
Oh, I think it's
It's stuck inside.
Oh, it's stuck inside.
Maybe. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I've got everything in place.
mhm.
Let's show everyone where we are with this now.
There you are now.
There you are now. This is what we have. We're just starting, and you can really start anywhere. I would not necessarily start with the floating knot
Mhm.
on the leather by itself because you don't know how close you want those knots. And
Mhm.
so I'm doing the Katie, not
That
as well as
self-needle.
Katie. I'm of course getting it glue on my own hands.
That's okay. Here,
Okay,
hand
will you
that to me.
separate
Yep.
those? And then let's
Yep.
I'll let you do.
Here, I'll do the other
You do
ones.
the other ones, okay?
So there's those two, and then
So, while you're doing that, I wanted
Mhm.
to show you that quick little trick with the design
okay,
board.
I'm gonna move it over, and the design board's here.
Okay,
And I actually took off that loop, but you can show this loop.
okay. I feel like Julia Childs
Yes.
a little bit. So if you don't want to, like, what I might call desecrate your leather, that's like a harsh word, but if you don't want to
You want to continue to treat your leather
with-
gently.
yeah. So what you can do with the clip, without the zap glue on your hands, is you can also just go like this.
No, you put it over the top, didn't you?
No,
You didn't even clip on it.
no, I just did it like that.
Oh, because you could also unclip that for a second
Yeah.
and clip it back. Didn't you just do this?
You could do that, but no.
That's what I was seeing.
Oh, okay. Well, you can do
Yeah.
that. You can do it this way.
But I like the clipping in there
You
too.
can also just go and just put it this way.
Terribly clever.
Terribly clever. And
So-
then it's loose. You're not clipping
Yeah,
it down.
It's great.
And then what I do on this end, if I can just come up, am I in the picture up here, Brandon?
You are now.
Okay, so
But
on
you're right
this,
at the bottom.
on this end, I don't want to go like this. I don't want to push, what I'll do is I'll go like this.
To the side.
So I'm not putting pressure, the leather and so forth, I'm not putting a bend in it, it's just moving down and then I'm going like that. And it's usually pretty sturdy. The nice thing about working on a design board is you have that space already underneath.
And Beth has a question, Janice. Which design board do you use all the time? Do you use the deep dish or do you use the regular mostly?
I use this mainly,
I
the
do
regular.
too. Yeah.
Only because of my wrists, the deep dish makes it's a little bit deeper and my hand has to go up over it and then my shoulders get more tired.
The deep dish is nice if you're, I don't know, maybe if you're looming or using bigger beads or whatever, you have a little bigger space. But I use just this regular.
So
as
we're
well.
on this now. Should we just put this aside since
Sure,
we're
do you
here?
want to?
Yeah, I mean the macrame
You're
board
right.
is great for this, but we're here now. We can certainly use this. Can you see everything, Brandon, really well?
It depends on what you're doing, but I'm right on your hands.
Okay, but this isn't in the way, is it?
No.
Okay, so now we're going to look at what you want to work on. Why don't we take a piece of the waxed linen? Let's separate these out so we see what we have. And let's take a piece of the waxed linen.
And while you're doing that, Gina was asking over on YouTube, she said she's really new to this, so what advice would you give to someone just starting with the best thread to practice with? She's been using KO. I mean, you can use KO, it's a little thin.
It's too, yeah.
What I would recommend, Gina, is just get your seal on. There's a lot on there on your spool, and you'll have plenty to work with. There isn't really something that's a better practice thread than just this. And you may want to start, if you're brand new to this, instead of jumping in with the Odyssey right away, maybe jump into our poetry project, which this Odyssey has some aspects of that Janice is going to do now. It's a good one to start with.
Yeah.
But also the wax linen, it's not very expensive, so you can just kind of come in and start playing around with your wax linen. Maybe leave the leather out of this first one.
Well, if you're new to this and you're not going to start with the leather, then you would cut multiple strands of the threads you're working with and macrame over it.
those,
But you do need to make like a button loop.
Do you need to cut those, or is that okay?
What I did is I angle cut it. So this particular strand is gonna, and I'm just gonna go through like fairly quickly, sort of each pattern.
Do you want me to start stringing anything else on another strand?
Sure. Let's see. So this, I didn't pay attention. This has a little bit of damage in it. See, it's got,
Thickness there.
linen is not like one long thing that is endless. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll that, and it should be fine. Do you have beeswax? I can just run the beeswax over it a little bit.
And Beth was also saying Bollywood bracelets are also a great way to start.
Right.
With the CKC, so that's a good one also.
So if you want to just do your Odyssey knotting and not worry about like where the knots are, you just put some beads on, knot it. It doesn't have to be
and you started a
close
knot.
up.
There's a knot right there.
I started a knot here because I don't like
You don't want
right
your
at
beads
the
right
top
up
to
again.
get bulky. So
And
if
so
you
you're just
wanna,
letting them float.
Yeah, if you want to do some of that.
Okay.
And then I'll move on to
Should I mix my beads?
You
or?
can mix your beads, do whatever you feel like.
Oh, hey, I like
Whatever
that
you
story.
feel like. So I'm going to take one of these now, and let me show you what I'm going to do with this one. I'm going to get a piece
The
of
cool
white
thing
paper.
also, you guys, and we kind of do this automatically, This is the wax linen here. I automatically, just almost every time I put a bead on, I stiffen the end. And again, Janice has angle cut it. So that stiffened end just makes that self needle really well. You don't have to glue the ends of the wax linen.
Okay, so I'm going to show you, I'm going to take one of the leather pieces, because that's kind of fun. Let me move all of these out of the way. I'm going to put them back down. You want me to bring it a little closer to you?
Whatever works for you, Jane.
Okay, and then I'm going to take a piece of this. And this, I'm using the teal fine weight, and I'm just, I'm not even thinking about how much I'm cutting. Maybe it's a yard.
Oh, that's how you attached it. You didn't use one that was in the necklace.
No, I'm just, if we look at this particular one here, let's look at this one here. This is not attached to anything.
I see that.
I just started it,
Mm-hmm.
and then added my beads,
Mm-hmm.
and then I finished it.
Right.
And it's just, this becomes like a little say something bead unit.
Yeah, just a unit. I love how the leather mimics
That's
the
the
color of that
mistake.
bead.
Yeah, that's the mistake.
Yeah, well, you can't tell.
I can tell.
Well,
And
like
everyone
Julia Child says,
yes.
who's to know?
Who's to know? But that's the one I'm going to show you now. What I did. So let's find the halfway point in this little bit of Ceylon. Let's go underneath the leather. Find my two ends equally, and then put the knot in. And I can move this. It's still loose enough that I can move this wherever I want. I can go, oh, I want it up here. Oh, I want it down there.
But once you start to tie it, Janice, it doesn't slide. Is that right?
It doesn't really. By the
Mhm.
time you get enough beads going, if you wanted to, you could take a little spot of glue, put it on the leather.
So it stabilizes it.
It is, but if you don't need to use it, my vote is don't use it.
Mm-hmm.
If you need glue, you really sort of need it at the other end, and then
Mhm.
the other end, when you end, you're not really going to, it's going to keep everything in place, because
Mhm.
that won't move. So let me just do, I'm going to do, for those of you who are new to macrame, let me just, let me show you.
And you guys can also find it in our skill builder section on beadshop.com. We have a great skill builder on just the basic macrame.
Okay, so let me start. I'm going to start. So I start with what I call a P. I take
Mhm.
the other end. I go under the main cord and through the P.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second half of that knot is then I make the Q, and I take my other cord, I go under the main cord and through the Q. And then you pull it up and you have a square knot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do just maybe one more full knot. And just as a reminder, if you walk away to go take the dog for a walk, and you go, oh, I'm back again, which side should I do my next knot on? You can look and you can see where that little, what Kate calls the scallop,
Mm-hmm.
is on top, and where the scallop is where your next loop starts.
Yeah.
So,
I did the Bollywood bracelets. My mom has had that surgery, that foot surgery she's had, and we had a little dinner party for her a few weeks ago, and so my nieces were there, and so I brought some Bollywood, some of these supplies, and they made theirs into anklets.
oh, fun.
And they used the larger, the size 6s and the size 8, the 0.8 millimeter Chinese knotting cord. So, and I know quite a few of you have said this summer that you've been making this with your grandkids. So it's a great, this simple Bollywood kind of technique that you're elevating it a little bit. But back to the basics, Bollywood is a great beginner kind of one to hone your technique.
So I just added the 2 bugle beads
At the sides.
at the sides, right?
If it were Bollywood, they'd be seed beads.
And then what I like about doing beading this way is that my groups then become beads.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole thing becomes a bead unit. It's like, I just like the way they all work together instead of just a bead and then a bead. This becomes my unit. So I'll do this one once more. I'm going to add 2 bugles. And you could add more bugles. In fact, let's see what happens if we add, instead of 1 on each side, let's add 2 on each side.
2. Let's do it.
Oh, someone's hungry.
Gina's saying that she has printed out everything and created her bead shop binder. I know many of you print out our episode notes and our handouts and create your own bead shop binder. So it's a great reference tool for sure. Make sure that you have printed out Janice's Needlepedia.
Oh, that one was a labor of love.
It was really incredible. We referenced it last week, but if you have not, if you and the Needlepedia have not become close friends yet, get familiar, you guys. It's a good one. It was, Janice. You wrote, that was like a book you wrote.
And you know what I learned is that there's an infinite number of knowledge. It's just endless, the amount of knowledge there is out there in the universe about how things work. And so I like the 2 lengths of bugle beads. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, a long section. It's very nice.
Now what
you could even put an 11-aught or an 8-aught.
You could, and it might not be a bad idea, because if you're wrapping your bracelet and it's a little tight on you,
Needs a little
your
elbow.
bugles could crack. So that's
Mm.
something to just pay attention to. So one of the things that I do when I design is I like to bookend
Yes.
my designs. So in this particular case, if I want this to be a little statement, I'm going to finish, I'm flipping it.
You'll finish like you began it.
Yeah. It's like the cheap seat way of designing is just mirror what you have, and then...
Well, I think also it helps you, like if you're, let's say that you're producing your work, you're producing work for sale. Any trick that you can, that helps you actually string a little more quickly or design a little more quickly, saves you money in the long run, right? So this trick of bookending is kind of it's a good, it elevates your design, and it's fast to do because all you do is you've established your design and then you reverse it out. So it's a time saver. And when you're selling your work, saving time equals saving money. Do you want this?
Oh, I opened this one
Okay.
up. I got it. So
Okay.
I have one more full knot to do, or 2, whatever, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right on the leather.
Is that one open? I can open this one for you too.
I got it.
Okay,
Just a little,
just a touch.
just a touch.
Great, hand it over. I'll put the lid on.
And that stabilizes this section.
Yes, everybody's feeling the love of that Needlepedia, JP.
Oh, good, good. If you haven't seen it yet, go to Tricks to Laddering, which is a project, which is what this bracelet I'm wearing is from, and download, not the episode notes, download the
handout.
PDF, the handout. I go through, it's got to be 25 pages. Someone's going to say, look at it and tell us how much it is. But go through it. I go through whole sizes, and what thread works with what hole size.
And we're working on kind of revamping that
Yes,
eventually.
and I promise I'm going to
I'll link it here.
redo that. So I'm just gonna put a little
And the
glue on
glue
the
that
ends.
you're using, JP, that's the Zap glue.
The Zap, yeah. I use that because it works quickly and it works well with the needles. So, do we have another little baggie nearby
Yeah,
that
we've
I
got
just
one
want
right
to?
here.
I want to just take off the excess glue.
There we go. Let me link this handout right here. Oops, that's my alarm. Sorry about that, you guys.
Okay, so that's one section, and you can do this on the leather all the way down. So let's show everyone what this one. This one is this one. So you could use all kinds of beads. You could use like little. This doesn't have to be just with bugles. You could do this with the 8/aughts or the 11/aughts. You could wrap, let's say,
And just to answer Karen's question about do we sell the Zap, we do. We sell
Yes.
everything, all of the ingredients. If you go right over to beadshop.com, and you can find it either under projects or under Beadshop Live, there's a whole ingredients list for everything we're using here.
So if you wanted to, change this up, you can do this, which is very Bollywood, which is take some of the smaller beads, not just the bugles, but you can intersperse these, and there you go. You've got a whole nother look.
Cindy is also saying wampum on this. Would look
Oh
great too.
yeah, wampum would look wonderful. Okay, so this one is done.
Looks great, Janice.
There you go. You can just mix
There you are
these.
now.
Look at, you can mix these up and bring in.
Now let me ask you, did you, when you strung this in the wild,
Mm-hmm.
when you strung this at home,
Yeah.
did you string this one strand all the way, or did you go across lanes?
It depended. The leather with the knots was one strand all the way because it was the end of the project. Other ones I would get, which is the way I always design, I got to a point where I didn't know what to do next, or I didn't know if I liked it, and so I moved to the next strand to see. And so I would end it with the, putting the glue down, just so that it seals the deal. And then, do you have the
Thread burner's right there.
And then I'd go in.
That's the one that I have my name on.
Oh, you have, where's your name on it?
Isn't that the one I have my name on? Isn't it on there? Oh, maybe I have the one on my name in my office. Kate. It says Kate.
Okay, so this is for those of you who've never used the Perfect Thread Burner Perfect End. This little, I haven't touched the button yet, so I'm able to touch this. This little heating element gets super hot. You don't want to touch it. So I'm going to show you, maybe we can see it getting warm. It's warm now. I'm just going to go in real close. I turn it on.
Yeah, push the button and it heats right up.
Now, it's not heating up as fast as I'd like it to. I'm going back in and I'm just melting that, see? Oh, and it
heats
smells
pretty fast.
delicious.
Yeah.
It just smells delicious.
You want to make sure you're in a well-ventilated area.
Yeah.
And I just added a new battery to that. It takes one AA battery on it.
And then you can just go in, and still it's a little warm, just melt the
Do that little
little
tap.
yeah.
Tippy tap.
Yeah. Okay. So that's one whole strand
Looks
down. Okay, now you're working on that one. Now let me go, I'm gonna do let me get the wax linen and the coins, okay, so I can show everyone.
Is there something else that you'd like me to
Probably.
to do?
We
I don't
don't
know.
have to go much too much longer. Do you want to do the coins?
I can't. I mean, is there, while you show them the coins, is there something else you want me to string, or is this really it?
Well, there's that, and then there's, we want to show them how we string everything. So you've done like these simple ones, and
Right.
you've made it your own,
Mhm.
right? And then
So maybe getting these two together?
let's see. Sometimes it's hard. Okay, I'm going to show them this one now. How about you start this and then we show them the knot for this?
Oh, the coin.
Yeah,
Okay,
the coin.
sure.
And I'll do this one now,
Sure.
which is the
Sure.
macrame. So
Sure.
there's the wax
There it
linen.
is. I
You've
got
got it. Let's move this so it's right where you want it. And I'm going to now do, I want to just make sure which, okay, I had the purple thread in the middle. So I'm going to get a purple thread. And then I'm going to use these two C1 on the side. And let's get these others out of the way. I'm sure you may have a solution at home for when you're not working on threads. You can bring them all together away from the project.
Yeah, and you can clip them to the side of your
You can
board.
clip them. You're
I've
working.
got this one.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I'm working on these, and I want to make sure that they're not in.
Here,
Okay,
you
I want this
that
one.
Here, there we go.
My projects are never simple, are they? Okay, let me get this one out. So, tell us about your vacation, Kate. You're going away.
I am. Chris and I are going to go on a little vacation.
Yeah,
It's
you're
gonna be
going on
good
a little
times.
holiday.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. But you know what, even before that, you guys, you know what Janice and I are doing tonight? I bought Janice a birthday gift way
So
back
fun.
in May. And I had been crowing about seeing the stage play Hamilton for, I don't know, I've seen it twice now.
Always telling me.
And I've always said, "Oh, Janice, I've gone
you
Hamilton."
should go.
And then I said again, and Brandon's also a big Hamilton fan.
Yes.
And I said, "Janice, I saw Hamilton for the second time."
Yeah.
And she
I don't wanna
literally
hear, I'm
said to
fuming.
me, she said, "I don't want to hear it."
I don't want to hear it. I'm fuming over it.
And so, since I'm a member of the San Francisco, the SHN or whatever it is, I went in and I grabbed us 2 tickets because I
Yeah.
thought, if I'm going to see Hamilton for a third time, the person I want to see it with is Janice. So I managed to nab us some pretty good tickets, and then I called her and I said, "What are you doing that Wednesday that we're doing Facebook Live?" And she said,
Crazy.
"I don't know. What are we doing?" And I said, "We are going to Hamilton."
That's crazy.
And it's going to be really fun. So that's what we're doing tonight.
Crazy.
It's Janice and I have a date. We're going to do something non-bead shop related,
Yeah.
which I don't know, we haven't done for like a year. So
Totally.
it's going to be really, really fun. And it's really my favorite. Brandon saw it on Broadway
The original
for
cast.
with the original cast, for crying out loud.
Okay, I have to
In
just
West
make
End.
sure this is tight enough.
Yes.
Is this tight
So
enough?
we're
Is
gonna
my
have
hair in the
such
way? Am I in the
No,
way?
you are not.
Okay.
Your hands are right there. It's
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, I want to make
Just be careful
sure.
of the camera.
Okay, you're not using this
Not
one,
at all,
right?
no.
So I'm going to
There you
get
go.
this one, and I'm going to show everyone. I'm going to use this one. I want to use the 2 I used up here. So let me
Sure.
get these out of the way. Let's put these over here.
And you guys can see I'm just knotting these beads, and I am eyeballing. I obviously don't have the room to get out my little spacer or whatever to write it down, but that's okay. I'm just going to eyeball it, and I think it'll look fine. Notice also how I'm using my knotting tweezers as my fingers because space is tight here. So I'm using my knotting tweezers.
Okay, so could I have one more clip?
Sure.
Because I'm going to clip.
There you are, madam.
So I'm taking this one thread that I'm putting all the beads on.
So that's like
This
Poetry.
is the center.
This
Yeah,
is
this
kind of
is the
like
center chord.
You would be stringing poetry,
Right,
right?
and I'm clipping that down to the end, and then I'm taking my 2 original threads. Let me just go under this. I want to make sure this is not gonna, there. And do I want to wait until you're out of the way a little bit?
It's okay. I'll work around you.
Okay.
Whoops, I tied 2 knots there.
You
didn't
did.
I?
I was going to say,
That's all right.
do you want 2 knots?
No. I'll just move forward.
Okay. So I'm going to do just the 1 bead. And on my original sample, I just do this one loosely. So I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to and then needless to say, you all need to charge thousands of dollars for these samples when you go to sell them.
Right.
Wait, I want to get underneath your thread. This is there. Okay, let me get under your thread. And let me get under, I'm just like, I don't want this unnecessarily. Okay, this. Okay, now I know where I'm going. I'm a little off to the side on this one, but it'll work out. Okay, so see, I'm coming under that bead. My purple fine weight is the center cord.
There we go. So much creation.
You know, taking knots out of wax linen is pretty hopeless, Kate.
I know. No, that's why I'm moving this. I'm not taking it out.
Oh, okay, because
I
it
moved
gets
forward.
all white.
Yeah,
and
that's why I just left it. No one, as Gran would say, it'll be never be noticed on a trotting horse.
Okay, so I've got that first bead where I want it. Now I'm going to go to my next bead.
You can also re-wax your wax linen a little bit if it feels like it needs a little more support. These coins are really lovely.
Aren't
the
they?
holes are really very nice on these.
Delish.
They sit very nicely, and we carry the coins in so many colors.
Yeah, yeah. I like the aqua impression jasper too. That's another favorite color. I couldn't decide which I wanted.
And for another pop of color on this, you could use the pink crazy lace if you really wanted to, you know, go for it.
Is there enough light on this Brandwin for everyone to be able to see?
I like
Yeah, we're doing
I
okay.
think it looks pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty light, I think.
Everyone watching that knows me is going, I'm always going, Brandwin, come in for a close-up. Brandwin, we need more light.
I'm trying to get all of this creation in the screen.
Okay.
These are looking pretty even. Not too bad.
You can imagine everybody's going, wow, there's so much happening.
There is.
There is.
You know, we're trying to get enough of each strand shown that
Teamwork.
um,
And Kim is also pointing out that the coins are lightweight, which they are. They're, you know, they're 6 millimeters, so they're big, but they're not a round bead, so they're lighter, less material.
I love flat beads.
I do too.
Like, I love the spindle beads. I'm just like,
spindle. Yep. Spindles would look great in this.
yeah, they would. So I'm putting 2 cubes together here, just because I can.
Crazy.
And let's say I'm working my way down the project and I've run out of thread. I could add, like, right above a section, I could just knot on another strand and either go around the 2 and knot a little bit, take the old strands down and knot around it, and then maybe cut right here. or I could knot here and bring it through the beads
Mhm.
and then start again down here and phase one out. So it's really, I don't want you to worry about you didn't cut enough thread.
Yeah, you can always add.
I'd rather you have less thread and control it and then add a thread, especially like with a project like this, you don't have enough. You can do something like this. Okay, well, I'm going to skip a section of my thread and start down here with a new one. So it's a very, very forgiving project.
And you can do, if you wanted to be intentional, you know, something that Allie does in her designs quite a bit is she changes her cord color.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to, in the midst of this, go to purple and then go back to teal or introduce another color or whatever, that's another way you could do it too.
Or as Kim said, do a little Morse code.
Yeah, Morse code necklace.
Okay, so I want to show you that you can also, instead of just putting, in this particular case, the beads on the center cord, you could also put the beads on the outer cords, just like we did before. And you could, again, mix it up and do something like this with your center cord. So this is just an endless love fest of beads.
Of beads. That's
So-
right. Bead love fest.
Bead love fest. Okay, so everyone gets the idea of this. This strand is pretty much a full strand of macrameing and beads. You could use your 8/0 and your 11/0. They will also fit on this fine weight. So you could put some of your 11/0 down the center and change all this. How many different ways can you do this?
37.
At least 31 flavors. So you can do something like this if you want. You can also, you could leave nice big loops like this. That's
Yeah.
super Odyssey. So let's do that. Let's try what that looks like.
And once this is finished, you know, with all of your experimentation, or if you kind of move around from technique to technique, it's all going to mesh together because the strands, you know, they layer upon each other. So they're going to really, you know, no one is going to come up to you with a magnifying glass and examine each little section. Maybe
Look how
Janice
nice
and I
that
will.
looks. Look at that.
Yeah, it looks great, and it has like a little floaty bit in there.
Okay, so that's this strand. Let's look
and here's the
at
coin strand, and now we really just have to do something on the on that leather.
yeah,
some
and
knots.
yeah, because the other purple one can be, it can be one like this where you add beads to it and thread over it. You can also be ready to be experimental. You can also come along and put two threads together, do something here, and then bring two together and do something new. Yeah. So, okay. So the next one we want to show is
Just the simple overhand
the simple
knot in
the Katie double knot, which gives you the nice square. So.
Do you want me
Nice
to do
knot.
that?
So
You got
no. So I'm just going to go over again, and then I kind of use my hand to pull it where I want it. I pull the knot while it's pretty big, and then I use my thumb to land it. And be gentle pulling on the leather. Don't pull so hard. It's not plastic. You know, it's real leather. So this time I'm going to show you if I wanted knots, like similar spacing, how I would do this. So here's this. Let's say I want another knot like right about there. It's easier to do if you're just doing a single knot. So a single knot would just be go through it once. And then sort of gently pull it to where you want it to be. Let's look at the two together so we can see the two. So there's that one, and then I just use my fingers to pinch it in. I don't use a tool, nothing to damage the leather. And you can see the difference. One is a little more substantial. Your knot, Kate, is just a little squarer.
And it allows the cord to run straight through the knot rather than off akimbo.
And I don't do the perfect Katie knot. You can show yours.
All right.
But it's okay.
Looks
now
good.
I'm going to do another one where it's double. Let me put this up here. This is sort of like an IQ test for me.
There we go.
I'm going to pinch where I want it to end up. I'm going to pinch again. I go through it once, and I go through it twice. And then with my fingers, this is where I want it, right back there. I'm going to crawl it up.
And see how it naturally wants to fall into like a little
Right.
figure eight? Let it fall into that figure eight, and then kind of each loop of the figure eight you kind of push towards each other. And that's what makes your knot.
Before I do this, I want to just double check. Do I have it about right? Yes, I do. But again, you don't have to make this perfect. Let me just,
You're just at the bottom of the screen, just a warning.
okay.
You can't go too much lower. Thank you.
Oops. I don't know if I got it right. Did I get it right?
I might loosen it a little bit.
Okay,
There
you
go.
do it. Here.
Okay. I can do it. So if we're here, here's my measurer. Here's my pinch.
Right.
Once times, twice times.
Right.
Now, see how immediately it wants to fold into that figure eight?
Right.
So I'm going to hold my finger where I want it, and I'm going to push the loops of the figure eight together.
To where it wants to go. Yep.
And so see how that,
Yeah.
still the figure eight,
Right.
fold it in half, and just pull that tight.
Right.
Then let's see, yep, there we go.
Yeah. Again, it's not science. We don't have to factor a NASA launch to outer space.
No,
This
we
is
don't need
just-
our slide rules.
This is just beating everyone.
But this is a good one if you're knotting in between beads. We're going to remember this knot, kids, because next week on Bead Shop Live, we're going to be revisiting this knot again and again, and some variations on it as well.
Cool.
There we go.
Okay, so do you think we have enough of all of this to be able to show?
Sure. Yeah, it's
the-
about time for you to show the
Okay.
closure.
Okay, so let's pull this up
Okay.
so we're really in the picture. And then I just need the leather,
Okay, I'll give it
because
to
the
you.
leather's going to go through the button.
There we go. Here you go, Janice.
Okay, I only want the leather.
Okay.
So,
I have some more threads.
and I
of
want to
if you
just
need
show
anything else.
everyone that you really, you can get this, and you can get your wax linen, your fine weight through this, but you can see that the hole is just not that big. I might have to angle cut this when I want to get it through. But it will fit. So I'm going to come to the end, and I'm just going to angle cut.
you're gonna angle cut it. There you go.
I am.
Here's these two if you want.
I might need those to really.
We love our thread snips. Ours are on thread snips.
Okay, so, and another secret is don't try to get both of them through at the same time. Do them one at a time, hold one down, and then there they go.
Beautiful.
Okay, so we want to do this in the picture, so I'm going to move all of this up.
Okay.
Now none of the threads have been tied on or anything at this point yet.
They're just floating around.
Yeah, I just want to refresh my memory what I did here, so I know. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm taking all of the threads that let me push this all the way up.
Utilize all those clips,
Yeah,
you guys.
all the clips. Okay, so I'm just gonna. You're not seeing me really fake this, are you, Baranduin? Like how I've got them all.
Can't see the top
No,
of the
it looks
clip.
Okay,
good.
they're all sort of jury rigged up there. So all of them, you're gonna bring them down. They're all beaded. They're all like beautiful
All
and
done,
all
yep.
done. And then we're going to take all of these here like this. What, am I standing on this? What's going on? Oh, okay. I'm going to take all of these, and then I'm actually clipping them together like here. And then I'm going to take a separate piece of fine weight.
And give it a good length.
Yeah, you don't want to
You don't
be
wanna
short
scrimp
on this.
because you don't want to have to add thread.
Okay. Now, I didn't knot them together. You don't need to knot them together, but they need to be equal. They at this point, you need to make sure that one isn't hanging longer than the other, that they're the way you want them.
And Janice, you don't put a roller on this end.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. You know, there's no reason why you couldn't. But I'm going to macrame on this side here. And it's still loose enough that I could move this up if I want, move it down. But I remembered this technique from Brittany's project, because when I came to this, of course I didn't check before I started how many threads would fit in the shank. I didn't think about it, and I just went, oh, of course I'll be able to end it the regular way. And then I got down to this end, and nope, they weren't going to go through. So if you want, you could put like a bag under here and put a little glue across these if you feel like your project needs more security. But they're really not going to go anywhere by the time we're done with all of this. Especially with the tassel, because most of the, if not all of the tassel strands start each one with a knot. And in order for them to come through, you'd have to take that knot out. So, okay, so here we go. We have enough of this. And then these are all of my tassel strands. So I'm going to show you one more time. Let me clip this down so it stays. These are the two strands that I want to go through the button. So I'm going to take this and go in.
And you could always use, you guys, like the collapsible or the flexible needle too if you feel like you needed it. But
yeah. not all of these button shank holes are absolutely the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here I've got this. I'm going to bring it up here. There we go. We're bringing it up. So let me just for a second show you here what we have.
So there are the tails.
Yeah, let's get the tails all up out of the way so you can see what I'm doing now. Okay.
Janice, everyone's saying that you're calm and reassuring.
Oh,
And people cannot wait
to try this.
out.
I'm so glad. Give yourself time to do this. This project can take a weekend. It's not an hour. Okay.
It's an Odyssey is what it is.
Yeah. So here's what we just did. We did the macrame, all of them together. We put the two main cords through the button along with the leather. Now we're going to macrame the rest of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see these, it would be really hard for any one of these strands to then pull out. First of all, you've got all the weight of the beads, but we're also going to finish up here with a little bit of glue, like we did earlier. And and then you would take each one of those tassel legs and
just string them up.
Yeah. Do you want to, Kate, just show maybe over here what the diagnosis of the tassels while I just finish this and people can see maybe what they look like?
You know what I'm going to do is, while you do that, I'm going to put this over here. Reclip that.
I think you need like about a half an inch. You want enough macrame to clear the button.
Yeah, so see here how we've left, like if I hang it, it's about anywhere between a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch here. This one's longer, this one's like about an inch. So what I'm going to do while Janice is stringing that, I'm going to actually string one, so I'll show you how we finish it off.
Do you want me to move a little bit out of the way?
No, you're good. This one already still has the zap from the glue being on it from before. So I'm just going to come in and put on, I'm going rogue, whatever I want.
Good for you. I love rogue.
Bran, would you hand me those cubes, please? Thank you.
Would you move up just a tiny
I will.
bit?
There we go. And may I have a bugle or two?
Sure.
Perfect. I noticed you didn't put any of the bugles on the tassels, Janice.
I forgot.
Okay, there you go. There you are now.
After I did it, I said, why did I not put any bugles on? Don't do as I do, right? I really, literally,
I do that.
I forgot. I was under this deadline to get it in the mail.
I know, I was hawking her.
And I just, shame on me.
I know. I give Janice these crazy deadlines. I'm all, Janice, I needed it 3 days ago.
I know, you need it. Do you have the zap glue somewhere?
Yeah, I had it all ready for you.
I'm just going
There you
to
go.
put a little glue on the leather, just a little bit, not much.
Yeah, poor Janice. Janice, I needed that 3 days ago.
Oh, I know.
Because I just come up with these ideas.
How is that going? Where are you on that?
Because I told you this morning I needed it
Yeah.
On Thursday, and today's
Yeah.
Wednesday at
Well,
2 o'clock.
That's the price I pay for working remotely.
Well, me and my big
it's
ideas.
no, it's just not having a desk, right? A little tiny desk here next to you all the time.
Well, you do have a tiny desk, though.
I know, but I'm not here all the
No, I
time.
know.
So you sometimes think, oh, I've told Janice.
Yeah.
I've already said I need that.
Yeah. But what I
I'm
did
really
was
not here.
telepathically, I've told you.
I'm really not here, right? Okay, so I'm just going to,
There we go. There's one tassel.
I like to
line.
just, my little life insurance policy is just put a little more glue on. let it dry. Just a tiny bit of glue.
A soupçon.
You don't need much. Then like rub off the excess. Rub in the excess. And then what we're going to do is we're going to burn these
Thread
off, and
burner.
we're going to cut that.
So I've just strung a couple of tassel
Mhm.
legs here,
Mhm.
and you know, if I were stringing them in real life, and maybe you want to lay them out again, Janice.
Okay.
If I were stringing them in real life, maybe I'd have a little more rhyme or reason to it. Like Janice said, maybe just putting a coin down at the bottom. I don't know. Whatever.
I had very little rhyme or reason to these. I just had fun with it. You know, I usually, Kate, these have gotten a little tangled. I usually do tassels where they're patterned. Like I would have all the coins.
Right. A symmetrical tassel, like we did on that.
That's
my box, my curated box.
This
how
is
I did it.
just, I would take the box and it would all be gridded out. I very rarely do
kind of this.
I rarely do this, but I thought,
What
you
the
know,
heck?
so what I'm doing off camera here, which I don't want to do, I want to show you all what I'm doing. I am untangling these threads, which happens. This happens when you're wearing a tassel. They will just spiral around each other. So let's see if we can't look at these and sort of diagnose what I did. So let's get...
So while you're doing that, JP, I'm going to show people how I actually...
okay, so they're all different lengths.
Yeah.
Each one was ended with an 11/0.
Which I have here.
And a double knot. So just like we did the double knot on the leather, I did a double knot at the bottom.
And this is my favorite way to finish off a tassel. I have necklaces that have been, tassel necklaces that have been finished off this way that are years and years old.
Yeah, they pretty much will last. They're not all the same length, and especially when you start wearing it, they're going to move around. Each one has a different amount of thread at the top. You could cover them completely with beads. You don't have to have any thread showing.
So here's what I've got.
But none of them went through the shank of the button. That's the thing you need to know, that this will go around the loop quite nicely, and it will look pretty much like it's... The button will be off a little bit to the side.
Would you give me the thread burner, JP?
Yeah.
I'm going to get rid of these little cords here. And of course, you guys, we'd want to wait 24 hours to, or at least 12 hours to let this glue dry. But I'm going to get rid of them because I want it a clear
But this
pathway.
is how it looks when it's done. It just...
I want a clear pathway.
You
to
would
the
never
tassel.
know that all the tassels don't really go through the button shank. That looks so good.
It does. Tap, tap, tap with the tip. Brittany said this was a Nicole trick.
Was it Nicole who
tap,
did the button?
no, the tap.
Oh, the tap.
The tippity tap.
Okay.
There we go.
But I'm pretty sure it was Brittany who did this
this kind
extension.
So see you guys here, I'll kind of come in and maybe I'll make that one a little bit longer and this one or a little bit higher up, and maybe this one will come down here like this, right? So there's different lengths of thread up here.
You could even put knots if you wanted some thread
to float.
showing. Yeah.
So see what I've done? To come at the end, I put a coin on, and then I've got that 11/0 right there.
Yeah, you got to have that little bead.
And I go through once, and I go through twice. Easier said than done. Come on, there we go. And if I wanted to, I could mark it out on a piece of paper or whatever, so I'd have my length. But I'm just going to visualize it and put it right there. I'm going to put my little tweezers. I'm actually just going to help myself walk that up. And I'm just going to knot it. And this one, now since this is the first one I did, that might be my benchmark, but it doesn't really matter what is, what's longer or what's shorter.
Nope.
So then I'll add, may I have the zap? Janice, do you have it on that, the glue?
Oh, the zap.
Do you have it on your end?
The zap. Here, the zap. I think of the zapper, the thread
Right.
zapper. That's the
So
zap.
I'll put a tiny dab of the glue. And again, the secret to letting these knots really hold together is to let this sit 24 hours undisturbed. So the clock hands have swept. I'm going to come in. I'll line this up right at the end of the knot, push the button, and pull it through.
That's it.
That's it. I'll do one more.
I can't wait to see what everyone makes.
I know they're going to be. This is another one of those kind of timeless projects that is so adaptable, kind of like your Born Yesterday is also one I think we need to revisit sometime. We haven't given that one any love in a while. And the macrame, the Born Yesterday would look great with the spiral macrame.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't that look nice?
Yeah.
We have Brittany coming at the end of October. I was just talking to her yesterday. She's coming in to do her double Bollywood, and it can be adapted into a necklace or a bracelet. And she utilizes some other macrame stitches, the spiral, all of those things. So this kind of has that double Bollywood kind of feel to it. Add another drop of zap. You could also use the GS Hypo on this, you guys. And if I had the hypo here, that's maybe what I'd use. But the zap is fine as well.
I think I only selected the zap was to be able to make the thread needle.
Yeah.
And so instead of, oh, you need 2 glues to do this project.
Yeah, it's really
which
fine.
people will go, are you kidding me,
Do I
Janice?
really
I
need
need 2 different glues.
Yeah. No, this zap works
And we
just
have
fine.
found it works fine, right?
There it goes. And so there I've got 2 of
Yeah,
the
you
8.
got 2 done, and they look great. And you have bugles on them too.
I did. I put some bugles.
Fun.
So you can see one is a little longer than the other, but once they're all finished, it's not going to make any difference whatsoever.
No, especially if you're going to make them random. You know, you don't want them. Mine are not all the same length. They're all different.
It's going to be great. So, any parting words on this one, JP?
I had a lot of fun making it.
Go ahead and
I had a lot of fun and challenge getting you
Yeah.
to agree to 2 strands of coins.
Wow.
But I think it's not only a timeless project, but it's a great introduction to stringing on all kinds of threads.
Yeah, and to be random, to get yourself out of the box of patterning.
Yeah, and just like, this is a project where you just enjoy it. And if you're getting your threads tangled, don't work with such long thread. Take smaller amounts and add it in as you go.
As you go.
Yeah.
Well, this is really, it's terrific. We'll bring this one with us this weekend for the bead retreat. We are that's why Janice is here. Our bead retreat starts Friday. And I know I can see Jackie on the feed. She's super excited about she's coming to the bead retreat. It'll be great to see you, Jackie. There's no free tip Friday on Friday because we'll be heading down to the bead retreat. But we will be taking some video. We'll try and go live from the bead retreat. The reception out there isn't always the best, so we'll do our best to reach you a little bit this weekend. And then next week on Bead Shop Live, I'm doing a pearls and leather.
I know, it's going to be so fun.
And you guys are going to love it. We have
Really?
some brand new pearls that are going to be debuting.
I have been wanting these large hole pearls.
That's right, forever.
With leather, so it's very exciting.
So we're going to do that next week. And then The following Wednesday, for Bead Shop Live, Emily's going to be here.
Yeah,
and
'cause
she's
you're on
going solo.
vacation.
Yep, I'm going to be on vacation, so I'll be gone. But Emily has a great earring project for you. I think it's with brick stitch, and if you are anywhere along the brick stitch continuum, if you're a seasoned brick stitcher or a new brick stitcher, these are a great earring that's going to take you right into fall, which is great. That's it. So, thank you. It was. I've lost my mug.
I don't know how.
Here it
there
is. Here's Alfie
Your
on his
Alfie
mug. It's great. It's great to have you.
It was so nice being here.
Yeah.
I
It's always
love
fun.
coming. I love coming back to
Yeah.
the office. It's what am I so far away? But
Well,
I'm there to babysit,
Yeah, that's
and that's
it's
what
okay.
I'm doing.
We're doing all right.
I'm babysitting, but I'm doing well there because you're all doing so well here.
Yes, and
I couldn't do it.
No,
Yeah.
and we couldn't do it without you guys
Yeah.
out there. So thank you so much. There's a lot of great words of thanks and all of that stuff, Janice, for you, and Brandwin for your great camera work, which is great. And yes, we will enjoy Hamilton. We
Yes.
are not throwing away our shot
No,
tonight
no.
at all.
No, we'll do a selfie.
We will. We'll do a selfie right in
yes.
front of our Hamilton selfie.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks so much. We will see
Thank
you
you.
over the weekend live from the Bead Retreat,
Yep.
and I'll see you next week on Bead Shop Live. Thanks, JP. Oh, it was great. It was a good time.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. We did a great job. And
We did.
we're almost